Welcome, everyone. It is so wonderful to have you with us today. I have Maren Epstein, celebrated chef of the most glorious cleansing food you can possibly imagine.
Thank you.
Maren truly is probably the most world-class expert in chefing for cleansing food. So you are just really in good fortune's way today. Maren, thank you so much for doing this for us.
Thank you for having me. It's going to be a great time.
Yes.
We're going to move fast through lots of things.
Yeah, Maren has an amazing lineup. You're going to have all your bases covered. And this gorgeous little girl is Ava.
Going to be helping us.
Going to be, Maren's assistant here. All right. So, Maren, what are we making today?
So today we're going to be focusing on warming foods that are still anti-inflammatory and supportive to a cleansing journey. So in the winter, we tend to eat a little bit more cooked foods. We slow things down, but we still don't want to gum up our eliminative organs, especially if we're using the lightener. So these are just really nice foods that are going to help support your journey to keep going as you've made progress all summer long through the winter months. So I live in Florida now. I don't eat as much cooked food, but when I lived in New Jersey, these were some staples that really got me through those hard months, especially when I was very deep in the cleansing journey and healing from a lot of different things. So we're going to start with the miso soup because it takes the longest. I've prepped most of the ingredients, but I thought this would be a good opportunity to cut some things in person so that I can teach you some knife skills. Because I used to hate cooking. And I realized the reason I hated cooking was because prepping everything just took me so long. So if you find that you're just one of those people where you just don't want to cook because you don't want to chop anything, the trick is really just spending a couple weeks practicing some knife skills so that you can breeze through things. And then cooking you'll cut your time in the kitchen down by 60%. And if you're feeling lazy, just buy everything pre-chopped. No one's judging. But so for our miso soup, we're going to use a few different things. So the recipe is on your sheet. And Natalia, would you mind pulling up the recipe on the WhatsApp link?
I will do so.
Perfect. That's it. Okay. And so we're going to start by just prepping our vegetables. That's the hardest part. So here I have an onion. I'm going to saute slice. So the best thing to do when you're chopping vegetables, another thing, when you're peeling an onion, you always want to take that top layer off. Don't worry about wasting it because it doesn't cut that well. And by saute slice, what we do is we slice the onion in half like this and cut the root end and the other end off and turn it sideways and make a claw with your hand. People are always worried about cutting themselves, but the reason they're worried is because they don't know where their knife is. So if you curl your hand like this and you always leave the blade of the knife against your knuckles while you chop, you're never going to catch a finger. And if you're wondering how chefs move quickly, that's actually how they do it. So I'm going to demo that for you now. I might have to switch knives because I haven't sharpened this one in a while. But this is kind of how you do a saute slice and move through. And yeah, of course, the day I have a cooking class, I put the dullest knife in my toolbox. So I may actually go get a different one.
That is an amazing tip. I never knew that. So there we go. Well, every time.
It'll help if I find a better knife. Give me 1 second. Sorry.
Yeah. No, but the prepping, the pre-cutting,
Yes.
is.
People watch your fingers. So now we have a better knife.
Can I see that one again?
Yeah, if you're a good chef and not like me, you'll keep your knives sharp all the time. And if you're a bad chef like me, you'll just buy a new knife every 6 months.
Good.
And that's how we move through.
Sure.
I'm a good chef, but I'm a bad chef. I'm a naughty chef because I don't sharpen my knives. This is a big onion.
Christina said she loves her glass knife.
Oh, I've never tried that. I've always liked a carbon steel knife because you can sharpen it. You know, whatever works for you, makes you comfortable is what you should use. And I love learning about new things. When I was an active food blogger, see, this is an awkward onion. And there's a lot of onion in this dish.
Mommy, what are we making again?
We're making miso soup. And then I just take all of our chopped onion and put it in here.
Mommy says it.
Oh, we're making chocolate haystacks, but even.
So then I should ask you what everyone else is wondering too.
Oh, that's true. You are. So now we're going to take our celery.
So
for this recipe,
we saw me a dessert.
I always cut off the not non-pretty ends. And the thing about this recipe is what makes it so delicious is cutting everything really nice and paper thin. So what I like to do is to cut this on a bias. So I'll turn it sideways and then angle my knife. Ava, can you move over? And just kind of breeze through. Another tip for knife work is to really make sure that the heel of your knife is hitting the cutting board. Because a lot of the time when you're chopping celery or cucumbers and everything kind of still together on one end, it looks like an accordion. That's because your knife isn't hitting the base of that cutting board. So by doing this, you make sure that we get nice, quick, even cuts. And we move quickly through. See, part of me thinks I should have prepped this all before we got on camera so you wouldn't have to watch me do it, but here we are. We're just going to cut this, and then for the soup, if you have the recipe in front of you, we have 1 carrot, which requires a matchstick cut, which is a pretty cool cut. I'm excited to show you guys, but at the same time, if you don't want to do that, just buy the pre-shredded carrots. So what's nice about convenience in the supermarket these days is you can kind of do as much work as you want or as little. It's depending on how much time you have and how much you enjoy this. I mean, personally, I learned to cook because I like to eat. I never really loved to cook. Now I love to cook. And now we have celery, and we're going to take 1 carrot, and we're going to do our matchstick cut.
Please get it.
So for this, again, we're going to just slice the carrot on the bias like this and make long, thin cuts all the way through.
So Maren, Andrea's asking, she says, so using a wood cutting board is okay. I was hearing wood particles get in the food, and does the pre-cut go bad faster?
Pre-cut will go bad faster because anytime you cut a vegetable, it exposes the cells. You're slicing the cells and it exposes it to oxidization. So it's the same thing with your green juice. The second you juice your vegetable, it's going to start going bad right away. So your produce is going to stay more fresh if you buy it non-chopped. Like this carrot would stay good in my refrigerator for up to 2 to 3 weeks. But once I cut it, this is going to be bad in about 4 days. So if you want to preserve produce, it's definitely good to buy it whole. And certain things last longer than others. Like carrots last a long time because it's a root. Onions can last for months, believe it or not. I've never had one that did, if they're proper. But you know, economically, it is cheaper to buy everything non-pre-cut, and it will last longer. So now to cut this, once you cut everything into these little paper thin things, little flat discs, you can stack them 2 or 3 on top, and then you slice them across about 1 millimeter to 2 millimeters wide so that you get what's called a matchstick. In Japanese cooking, this is called a matchstick. In French cooking, it's called julienne.
Can I keep one?
Yes, you can eat one, but can you keep your fingers away from the cutting board? Thank you.
And then the question about the wooden.
Oh, the wooden cutting board. I like a wooden cutting board because I think that it just feels better on the knife. If it's properly sealed and made cutting board, again, Ava, your fingers on the cutting board, not full. Then it's really fine, but it also depends what you're cutting. Like I don't really like to work with protein on a wood cutting board because they're harder to clean. So for that, I'll use a silicone cutting board or a, like a cork cutting board or something just plastic, because that is going to be easier to clean and sanitize for bacteria. But for me, what I do is I just use soap and hot water to clean this, and then I reseal it with mineral oil once in a while, and that keeps it pretty good. But I also just like the way it looks in my kitchen.
Mm-hmm. If I can speak to that, I only use wooden cutting boards at home. But I would never use a flesh, just as Maren was saying, on my wooden cutting board. I'm not making it with flesh at home anyway in my house, but I would not mix. So my wooden cutting board is just for vegetables. And then I give it a couple sprays with Dr. Bronner's and a little brush. After I use it, rinse it off, and it's good to go. So often I'll be cutting beets on the cutting board. And it'll really bleed in, yes. Yeah. But with the soap takes it right out as well. And then if I were concerned about anything I've used on it, I would just use some hydrogen peroxide and quell that easily. So wooden cutting boards are lovely. And I know that that has been circulating, and it's true for a household that eats indiscriminately and mixes things indiscriminately. But for us, we are mostly cutting vegetables and not, chicken breast and, beef and that sort of thing. So just keep that in mind and have an alternative for your non-vegetable products.
Yes, and now the best part of this recipe that makes it delicious are using
Marshmallow.
10 shiitake mushrooms. And again, with the rest of these vegetables, the thinner you slice them, the tastier the soup is. So what I like to do is just pull the stems off. You could cook with these, but I find them to be a little meaty. I don't really like to. If you want to save them for a shiitake bacon or something like that, you can.
Shiitake bacon
It is delicious.
They're gonna want you to make that for them now.
Now I'm gonna show you soy sauce, like just some herbs, and you put it in the oven, set it to like 100 to dehydrate it, and just let it dry out until it's like caramelized and shriveled, and it tastes just like bacon.
That's
It's the
nice.
best thing.
So now I'm gonna show you and the stems of shiitake mushrooms.
Yeah, or just even shiitake, it shrivels up like bacon. I mean, I've never had bacon, but it smells like bacon and it's delicious. So I imagine it tastes like bacon. People tell me it does. But shiitake bacon is delicious. There was a restaurant called Sun and Bloom in Park Slope where I used to live and work, and I used to get their something shiitake bacon all the time. It was amazing. And it was a completely raw kitchen. That was great.
That's it. That really is a brilliant concept. Well done.
Again, this whole lifestyle could taste really good. People say it's so limiting, but it's just a limited mindset that makes it limiting. All you need to do is just get a little creative. And that's it.
Jazz hands on that one.
Yeah. And it's funny because when I first got into this and I was in an eating disorder group because I was struggling with a bunch of things, they said to me, "Oh, this seems more limiting." And I was like, actually, now that I know how to eat well and keep my body open and feeling good, it feels like a whole new world of food has opened up to me. It's the opposite. So with learning how to cook and feel free in your own body, it provides the freedom around food that a lot of us who struggled with our health didn't have before. And between, there's so many styles of cuisine these days that utilize vegetables as their predominant ingredients, that you really can eat something different every day and pretty cool.
So Maren, Andrea's asking you, she said she'd love to see how you store vegetables to make it last because she's notorious for letting food go bad. Seems like it begins rotting in the first 2 days, fresh and chopped from the grocery store.
Oh, that makes sense. So if you chop things, they're going to go bad, but one trick that you can do is to eliminate the moisture. The more moisture and condensation that is allowed to gather around your food, the more it's going to rot. So what I do is I'll store vegetables in an airtight container on top of paper towel. So I'll put paper towel on the bottom of the Tupperware and paper towel on the top, or you could, if you don't use paper towels, you could use just a kitchen cloth, but you just need something absorbent to keep that moisture wicking away from the lettuce or whatever it is you're storing. Because once you cut produce, it starts to sweat. And it's that sweat that sits in the bottom of a glass container that the food then sits in, and then it starts to go bad. It starts to wilt. So by keeping your food dry, you will keep it fresher longer. But really, if you can help it, you shouldn't be prepping too much produce. I like to prep 3 days in advance, but other than that, by day 4 or 5, you're eating wilted salads. They're not as good. So, if you have no choice, you have no choice. But like whenever I over prep my ingredients, I find that by the time it's time to eat them 4 or 5 days later, I'm already in the mood for something else and it's kind of wilted. But if you're going to prep for lunch or 2 days in advance, just put everything on a paper towel. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this over to the stove, which I'm sorry is behind me. And I'm going to throw this in. I've already put in 1 teaspoon of toasted sesame oil. If you want, you could just use water to water saute your vegetables for this, but you have to make sure that there's some sort of lubricant in the pot so that your vegetables don't stick. So for this recipe, we want to sweat our ingredients. We don't want anything to brown. So we need a little bit of fat, a low medium heat, and then we're just going to get that going.
Yeah, that's so little oil when you think about it, guys. A teaspoon, but all of that. So it's inconsequential.
3 quarts of soup. We're talking about almost non-existent.
Oh, that smells immediately amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I wish you guys were here. It smells so good.
This is literally Natalia, like, you don't understand how this is.
I'm gonna find out, I think. Yeah, if I'm lucky and Maren.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna eat all of it. If you want.
It's beautiful. Wow.
It's not gonna eat all of this. Natalia, I'm gonna put you in charge of maybe keeping this going.
And the sesame oil makes it smell so good.
The toasted sesame oil does make it smell good. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna add in 1 teaspoon of salt. And what this is gonna do is it's gonna help, it's gonna encourage our onions to sweat because we want to sweat everything down until the onions are translucent, and that should take only about 10 minutes. Once this gets going, I'll bring the pot over so you guys can see it.
It's beautiful.
And now that Natalia has that going, I think it's a good time for us to start to layer our spaghetti squash. So I'm gonna go bring all that over for you guys to see.
Let's keep it in.
Yeah. And you can take breaks.
So
Then
Maren,
we have,
sorry, Margaret was asking, what if you chop your veggies but then freeze them for no more than a month?
depends on what you freeze. Greens freeze really well. Carrots, broccoli freeze well, but anything that has a lot of water in it is not going to freeze well. So tomatoes don't freeze too well unless they're cooked. Avocados get kind of mealy. But your root vegetables and your greens freeze very well, but just know that your greens are going to get mushy. And you can freeze your vegetables for up to 4 months or 6 months, really. And then what we're also going to do is what I've done here is I've sliced 6 garlic cloves, and I'm going to put that in as well. You just sort of or you just can't let them.
So Maren, Patricia's asking, are you adding any water to saute with the sesame oil?
I am not, but we're going to add 8 cups of water towards the end of the cooking process to make the soup itself. But the only thing in that pot is 1 teaspoon or tablespoon of sesame oil.
And how many does this serve typically? I mean, like,
That serves about 10 big bowls of soup.
so if you have a dinner party, you can serve a whole, this can make
You
it,
can serve
Yeah.
15 people with this pot.
wow.
So it's a lot of soup. What I like to do is put it in mason jars and freeze it.
I feel like I would eat all of this in 2 days.
I mean, it's happened. So then moving on to the spaghetti squash casserole, this is a really nice, easy dish. No oil needed, but what you do is you first roast a spaghetti squash. I did it ahead of time since we wanted to keep this class quick. And all you do is you slice the squash in half, scoop out the seeds, and then put it in a baking sheet upside down and roast it at around 325 to 400, depending on how hot your oven gets. It really honestly doesn't matter. You cannot screw this up for up to 45 minutes. When it starts to get brown like this on the top, you'll know it's done. You'll also know it's done when the flesh looks wet. Because when this is not, it's a very pale yellow. And then what we do is we scoop it out and it looks just like spaghetti. So I'll show you how that's done.
By the way, I ate that for Christmas, so I'm here for Christmas. And Maren made the most incredible spread, but that just took the cake. It was my
Yeah, this
absolute
is,
favorite.
I eat this for dinner easy 3 nights a
Or
week. It is
Thanksgiving.
so good. Yeah. So basically what I like to do is make it into like a lasagna. So I'll take a little bit of marinara sauce. I really like this brand, Michael's of Brooklyn. I used to eat at this restaurant 3 times a week when I was a kid with my dad. And they make all the sauce fresh. There's absolutely nothing bad in here. It's just tomatoes, garlic, basil, some olive oil, oregano, parsley, salt, and pepper, and tomatoes. That's it. There's nothing in this sauce. But of course, you can make your own tomato sauce. And then from there, we just scoop. So as you see, when you scrape the spaghetti squash, it starts to come apart and it looks like spaghetti. And then I just like to scoop it out right into the pan and shred it. Maybe you can go get sushi. She's being really bad.
Awesome.
And it comes apart.
Should I send her downstairs?
Yeah, you can bring her down. It's fine.
Maren, can you repeat the name of the sauce again, please?
Michael's of Brooklyn. They sell it all over New York and Florida, and you can also get it on Amazon. It's really the best sauce I've ever tried from a jar. It's so good, I don't bother making sauce anymore. And I used to make my own sauce all the time. I was a sauce snob. So from one sauce snob to another, this is good stuff. So then you layer the spaghetti squash in like this, and then you can do a layer of manchego. Now, whether you eat cheese or not, you can make this with cheese or without. Sometimes I do it both ways, really. It just depends on what I'm eating at the time. And then you take your next half, you do the same thing. As you see, this one is scooping up much nicer. It's way more cooked than the other one. You can see how it kind of takes on a spaghetti texture. And what's great about this is it's neutral. It combines well with proteins and starches. It digests very easily. It has really no calories. There's 10 calories to a cup of this. Not saying that anybody's counting calories, but it's really just a great vehicle for sauce.
Maren, would you explain that the manchego is sheep, is a raw sheep?
Oh yes, this manchego I'm using is a raw sheep that I really enjoy. And then, of course, this squash that I cooked is small, so we're not getting the very bountiful harvest, but that's okay. We still have plenty for our casserole. And then I layer on a little more sauce. You don't even have to measure. This is all by eye. It's very easy.
Nice.
Would you like it to be juicier with sauce or like?
I like it juicy, but then I like to put it under the broiler for a few minutes to dry it out and get it really thick.
Okay.
But to me, I'm a sauce girl. I love sauce. All right, Ava, would you like to sprinkle some of the cheese on there? Yep, just sprinkle it on. I'm going to turn on the oven. So now you'd want to either turn your oven on to 325 and put this in the middle rack until the spaghetti squash, until the cheese melts. And then if you like a char on your casseroles, you can put it under the broiler for 2 minutes after that and let the cheese brown on top. And then it's just delicious. You'll know it's done when you see the sauce boiling around the edges. It takes about 10 to 25 minutes, depending on how hot your oven is.
Am I talking too fast? No, you're saying great. This is all 10 minutes for this, right?
Yeah, I'll look at it in a second.
It's amazing how it's cooked down.
So we're cooking down?
Yeah.
Perfect.
And Maren, what was the raw goat cheese brand again?
This is a raw manchego from Whole Foods that I absolutely love. I'm not sure what there is no brand, but it's the only one that Whole Foods sells. But I can find it and give it to you all. It's delicious. All right, so now this is looking really good, Natalia. It's perfect. I'm just going to show everybody. So, nice. Yeah, maybe I should say. So, it's gonna be hot stuff. Yeah, Ava, can you move over?
Yeah.
You're doing great. All right, so this is done. Ava did an amazing job. We're gonna put that to the side. Now I just want you to see how this looks. You want your vegetables to cook down to this point before moving on to the next step. So now what we're gonna do, what we forgot to do, is throw in our kombu. So kombu is a big part of macrobiotic and Japanese cooking. It's a piece of seaweed that provides a lot of flavor to your soup. You do not eat it. It's exactly like a bay leaf. It's a Japanese bay leaf. It's fun. Yeah, and you're gonna get a lot of good minerals from this kombu. So that's really good.
Just one. You just want one piece.
Just one piece.
Interesting. It's like a bay leaf. That's good knowledge.
And then what we do from here is we're going to let this cook for a few more minutes while we constitute our seaweed.
Do you want me to keep it going?
I should have done this already, but I'm just going to show you guys. Here I have half a cup of wakame. The recipe that I posted, the recipe I posted calls for 1/4 cup of wakame and arme, but if you don't feel like buying a million ingredients, just pick one. I like wakame. You throw it in a bowl, put some water on it, and you'll see in a few minutes, this is going to plump up. And then we're going to put it in our soup and saute that as well. After that combines, we're going to add 8 cups of water. And we're going to let the soup simmer for 20 minutes. While that's simmering, I'm going to show you how I make a really quick oil-free avocado dressing and then some chocolate haystack cookies. So if I'm talking too fast, everybody let me know. We're trying to work through a lot of ingredients and a lot of steps. But now that our casserole dish is done, I'm just gonna pop this in the oven and we're gonna check on it in 10 minutes. And it's all, you're doing great. Thank you. All right, so as you see, this literally only took a few seconds for it to grow. So now we're gonna just take this swakami and throw it right in the pot. And I'm going to read the recipe because it's been a minute since I made the soup.
It's 7777. Good number.
So Lucid is saying, you'd think Maren had done a cooking show before. No surprise there. He says he has to go, but it was lovely to see you all.
Oh, sweet.
Thank you. It was great to meet you. All right, and from there, we are going to add 8 cups of water. Really easy. You can try. I'm just moving a little fast. Yeah, so what I like about this recipe is that you don't need vegetable stock, so it's one less thing to buy from the store. I just use filtered water from the tap. You can't see, but I am just filling a 4-cup size, a 4-cup capacity cup with water. And we're gonna just dump that right in the soup twice.
I love so many rich greens in here.
Oh, yeah.
It really makes it, this is, it's very mineral rich as Maren said. And with a lot of greens. Yeah, this is like a very innovative continental vegetable, like traditional vegetable soup.
Oh, yeah, and because of the, again, there's mixed feelings on the miso, I found it to be very healing for the gut. So since there's miso in here, it really helps the food break down because it's enzyme rich. So this food's already digesting before you even put it in your mouth.
Amazing. And by the way, guys, with mushrooms, shiitake mushrooms are great. Most mushrooms are not so good, especially like the white button mushrooms. There's very like, traditional, typical American mushrooms. I don't like to, I don't recommend them. But the shiitakes, we can do.
Yeah, and also you can leave them out if you don't eat mushrooms.
They really do add a lovely
They
meat.
add a nice meaty texture, especially since I've eliminated the tofu from this recipe. I didn't want the dogs out.
Let the dogs out.
Ava let the dogs. So, because I lose my train of thought every time they bark, which is constantly in my life. And so now what I did on that miso soup is I just turned up the heat to medium. We're gonna bring it to a simmer for 10 or 15 minutes, and then we'll move on to the next thing. So while that's getting going, we'll move on. Now, we're gonna clean up a little and then move on to our next event, which I think, let's do the chocolate covered haystack. So basically now we're going to do a chocolate haystack cookie. And what I like about this recipe is it requires no cooking. It's completely raw and it takes no time at all and it's fun. Even Eva can help with this one. So what we're gonna do first is melt some coconut oil. This needs to be above room temperature so that it melts. So because coconut oil is a hydrogenized oil, it's solid at room temperature. And that's great to keep our cookies together. But when we're first emulsifying all of our ingredients, we want it to be melted. So I'm just gonna pop over here. Put this in the saucepan. Just too tiny to macro. And we're just gonna melt this down.
You can put it on high. I see.
I put it on very low.
Okay, good.
All it has to do is be warm. So the lower, you could even put it over a double broiler. You could leave it out in the sun, however you want to. Over that you can. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna combine 5 ingredients. We have 1 cup of shredded coconut. Yes. Then we have 4 tablespoons or 1/4 cup of coconut powder, cacao powder. Wow. And then we have, because these are sugar-free, we have 4 tablespoons of monk fruit crystals. And then we have 1/4 cup of almond butter. If you don't eat nuts, you can do a tahini as well. I use tahini in a lot of desserts, especially since I also don't eat nuts often.
Could you do avocado?
No, you don't put a base. I think it would be disgusting, but you could try.
Okay.
Like, I don't recommend it, but I do have a recipe on my blog that uses avocado as a base, and it's for a chocolate mousse that's delicious. And also a brownie, so avocado brownies. Which I know sounds disgusting, but they're
That
really
sounds
good.
amazing.
Are you making brownies?
No, I'm not making the brownies. I should have done the mousse, so you guys would have loved that. Thank you. And now,
Hi, is this recipe on somewhere for us to see?
oh, they're all on my website, and I believe Claire made a PDF that you can all have.
Yes,
Okay, thank
it's
you, thank you.
Eatingworks.com.
But I can post links for Natalia to give to you all so you can get to these recipes. And then if you look around, I need to redo part of the website because I changed themes and the categories got all messed up. But if you go to the recipe index and click through, you can see hundreds of recipes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks. So now these are all in a bowl. We're just gonna wait 1 minute for that coconut oil to melt, and I'm gonna check on our soup. We're getting there.
Yeah, I like the idea, Maren, of putting the coconut oil in the sun. Because if you're a true purist and you don't want it exposed to any heat, and it will even absorb the
Yeah.
radiance of the sun,
You could totally do that.
that's a beautiful idea, actually.
I've done it. Now I'm in a rush, so it's going on the stove.
What do you got there, Ava?
Seaweed?
Ava's munching seaweed.
Not a bad snack. No. All right, we're getting down. Okay. Now what we're gonna do, watch out, Ava, this is a little warm. We're gonna just take our melted coconut oil and put it right in here. And then, thanks, Natalia. And just mix it all together. You can mix it. That's a little cup.
That looks so delicious. Oh my.
Will be. The trick is getting,
Can I try myself?
can you give me 1 second?
We got coconut oil, the coconut pieces, the cacao powder,
Yep.
and
the almond
the
butter.
almond butter.
Now, the trick is what would have been smart would have been to warm up the almond butter to get it to break up a little bit more easily.
Do you ever just put your fingers in there and
You
I
can.
can see that being
It's cathartic. I mean, I do to make the cookies. I'll show you. But basically, once it all looks wet and well combined, we're set to go.
scrumptious. I think sushi's wanting it. Yeah, is it sushi?
Oh yeah, sushi wants everything.
Yeah, this is like, what the heck is
Sushi the dog, by the way.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
she's jumping on us now. We put her in the crate so that she wouldn't bark during this cooking show, but then she got very sad and kept barking anyway. So here we are.
That looks.
So Ava, now do you want to give this a good mix for good luck?
a little Ava magic in there?
Oh yeah, it's not as good if you don't have love in it.
I mean, this would be a cookie dough that you could actually enjoy and
Yeah.
be okay eating. Like you could literally, if you want to have your cookie dough.
You want to have your
too.
cookie dough and eat it too. This is the way to go. And this is a starch base because of the coconut. So this would be a good, if you're not eating manchego for dinner, this would be a really good thing to pair, or maybe a little snack in the afternoon as a pick me up if you need something sweet
Mhm.
and you're transitioning.
It would even go as a dessert after a salad with tahini.
Oh yeah,
Dressing.
or anything with avocado. So then once you have this mixed, what you do is you just take a small amount and you set it down on some wax paper.
I do that?
I will
Okay,
show you.
perfect.
And we let these solidify and they turn into little haystacks. And that's why we call them haystack cookies.
And they're literally gonna cook in the life force of just the ethers.
Yeah, they don't cook at all.
They're just gonna they're gonna settle. They're going to integrate.
Yep, and they're really hard at room temperature and you can freeze them for up to 3 months. And
Wow.
so these are great. I like to leave them in the freezer for a little pick me up whenever the kids need a little something.
I mean, they're basically like a macaroon,
It's a macaron.
right? I'm blown away, Maren. This is absolutely brilliant. You are brilliant.
You're very kind.
You are. You're so incredibly brilliant. And Maren, of course, is, I mean, what makes it so unique, unusual, and special is that Maren's knowledge of intestinal health is so unique and stratospherically brilliant too.
Thank you. Well, that's why
So-
I got into this, because I just didn't. I didn't know how to tell anybody how to make things that tasted good. I just knew how they should eat for their intestinal health. Oh, no, you can come on.
Okay.
Fair suits.
Because, you know, Maren is a colon hydrotherapist and has been working as a colon hydrotherapist for 15 years, right?
Probably longer.
Probably longer. Got into this work to heal herself
We're gonna get rid of this now.
and,
Good job.
you know, like most of us, really loves food. And when you you want to have it all, and you can have it all. That's the beauty of it. You just have to create it and resourceful.
And also, everybody's at a different level, so I like to make recipes not only for me at a very clean level or for Natalia, but also things that my clients, Natalia's clients, can enjoy at every level. So,
Yeah.
you know, the food that I eat every day is not going to work for somebody who's coming off of a standard American diet for 40 years and cigarettes. We all start from somewhere, and by incorporating a lot of these cooked foods and healthy treats into a diet, it's a great way to transition to a cleaner diet without the emotional stress of feeling deprived.
So there's no reason there to be any sense of deprivation when this is work.
But I feel the opposite of deprived. There's
Yeah.
just too many things to eat and too many things to do. It's a matter of what.
It does, it opens up a whole world.
It really does. And now, in good timing, our soup is ready to be finished. So what I like to do now is turn off the heat. And we're going to put in our miso. So what I like to do is take 1 cup of my miso. Now, this is fermented with soy. If you don't do soy, you can also do a chickpea miso. I just really like the way this brand tastes, Miso Masters. It's a brand I've been working with in partnership on and off for years, and they just do it the exact way that they did it in Japan years ago. They ferment this stuff for ages. It's the purest ingredient, and I find it's positive for me and my clients. If you don't like soy, you can also just leave it out. It's just going to be more of a miso. It's not going to be miso soup. It's going to be vegetable soup, but you could also just use the chickpea version. So what I like to do is take a large bowl and dump this in. Then I'll take some of the broth from the soup. Hopefully I can find a ladle. I should have taken this out first. So Natalia, change everything.
Oh, yes, of course. Well, tell me, since this is fermented miso, you don't actually need any soy sauce and that's everything is salt because
That's
all
soy sauce.
that flavor's all packed in here.
Oh,
Yeah.
it is. And the soup is completely rich with healthy probiotics and minerals.
Well, I can tell you what, that's not too. I can see it actually making this on a regular basis.
I make this all the time.
I think the lecture will like it too.
It's also a really good way to start your day if you're transitioning and you need a breakfast. This makes a really good breakfast in the winter time.
This, I hope you all heard what Maren just said. Makes a great breakfast.
I'm just gonna use this.
For transitioners, and I can see that it's perfect. Someone actually asked me something. I think it was Megumi was asking about vegetable soup for breakfast. This would be perfect.
This would be perfect. I've had it. This has been, when I lived in New Jersey, this was my lunch. Like my 3 o'clock lunch, which is when I would start eating every.
And it's so warming.
It is.
Obviously. Yeah.
After that, I can find the label today.
So you wouldn't just like dunk it in.
I just find it harder to mix,
Okay.
but you can't.
You're just putting some of the soup. If you can't see, just putting some of the soup into
I'm gonna
the measuring cup. Okay.
So what I like to do to temper the miso to get an even pour is I'll just take some of the soup and dump it in with the miso and then take a whisk and whisk it up. Because if you try to do it in the bowl all at once, you end up missing chunks of miso, and then while you're eating your soup, it doesn't taste very flavorful, and then you get like a big salty bite. So nobody wants that.
Smells amazing. You know, I also really love the idea of having the oversized measuring cup. I've always only had the
Oh no,
like, small
I need
ones.
a big one too.
It's this your mommy.
This, yeah, you
Like,
got it.
yeah.
Hold my hand in.
Girl, and we should
It's
actually
strong.
smell this. It's honestly, it smells like salted caramel.
Can I do it with you?
Yeah, well, between the corn,
yes.
like and the miso.
Can I try getting it off?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Will this be on replay? Sorry to ask if I
Yes,
missed it.
100%. You
Right,
can
Ava, you're
have this
good.
forever.
Thank you.
And the recipes.
We'll make sure you have everything.
Right, so as you can see now, the miso seems to be mostly tempered, and I'm just gonna dump this in. I'll just bring the soup over here. Are you able to watch out? Because this is gonna be hot.
Wow. It really smells incredible.
It, trust me, this is good.
I'm not worried about you.
Can you go over?
Step off for a second?
Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
All right, so now we'll dump that. As you see, we have the soup. We could always add a little more water in, and then we're gonna dump the rest of the broth in the soup. And we'll give it a mix. And this is going to just blend all of that miso flavor with our vegetables.
It's so rich.
It's rich, it's decadent, and there's almost nothing in it. It digests quickly. There's tons of minerals, probiotic, everything you can want is in this soup. And then it has a nice earthy flavor, but I like to brighten it up. So what I do at the end is I'll take some acidic ingredients to dump in. So here we have one tablespoon of rice vinegar. I like to dump that in. If you don't want to use vinegar, you can use lemon juice. Both work very well. Because if you're on a candida cleanse, maybe you don't want to use vinegar. And then this is just ginger juice. You can make your own ginger juice by grating ginger and putting it in a cheesecloth and straining it. But I took a piece of my finger off the other day doing that. So I decided to just, no, absolutely not. I decided to just buy ginger juice. So you can buy a ginger shot or you can make your own.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I have the lemon ginger shots at home. You got the lemon juice and the ginger in it.
Yeah, you can just throw them in. So you're all good. I'm standing right over here. And then give it a
I
good.
can smell that too. Oh, that ginger smells unbelievable.
And then this soup is even better the next day once all the flavors can meld. Do you want to try it?
Yeah, love to.
Okay. Anybody want to try it?
Yeah.
Right.
I'll remember.
Oh my goodness. I can only imagine. It's not too hot.
I'll let you know. I don't think it's too hot, but I'm crazy.
Do your mama test.
Brave, it might be too hot, but I think you can handle it. Good for me.
Oh my gosh.
Is it hot, like hot for running?
Not hot one, you've got a little cream sip.
Oh my gosh. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I mean, it's probably the best soup I've ever had, frankly.
Wow.
Easily.
Well,
Wow.
Mommy,
It's incredible.
it's not that. It's not.
and I can tell you, my readers,
Mom, it's not even hot.
good, drink it.
If you wanted it to be in any way less salty, because the miso has
Just add water. That's what I do. So I like to keep the soup for days and
Okay, now
reheat it.
yes.
If it's too salty for you, which it often is for me, I just add more water.
Mhm.
Especially as you reheat it, it's going to get more constituted. So you can reconstitute it with water. Yeah.
Right, okay, because yeah, I think that would be, or you could use less,
Less miso.
less miso,
I just use more water because
Yeah.
why not make the soup last longer?
right? Because really theoretically it'll last, what, 5 days?
I've pushed it to 8.
I guess with all that miso, it's gonna.
Yeah, with all that miso and salt.
Really?
Salt is a natural preservative, so this isn't going bad so fast. And yeah, like I think it's a little salty just because we evaporated a lot of the water. It cooked a little longer than it was supposed to because I was too busy yapping. So I'm just gonna put like 1 or 2 cups of water in here, and I think that's gonna balance it out perfectly.
I can see putting it as using it as a sauce on vegetables, like.
Actually, what you could do is you could take the broth and use that as the sauce with carrots
Mhm.
and serve roasted carrots with some miso broth underneath, and it really pairs well with a sweet root vegetable, even Japanese yams.
Mhm.
Roast up the Japanese yam and use added sauce.
Wow, sounds delicious. I would
Perfect.
imagine like taking cooked broccoli and dipping it in and like laying the
That
broccoli.
sounds
or-
really good. Yeah. I could see that.
Maybe putting a pile of spinach in. I mean, you could use that for anything.
You can literally use this for anything.
Yeah.
All right, I'm just gonna check ours,
Oh, we have our,
Spaghetti
which
sauce.
is, our spaghetti sauce. Yeah,
and it is done.
same thing. This dish is truly, I mean, it looks just like lasagna.
Mommy,
And it tastes just like it's on.
mommy.
Yes, Ava, watch yourself. This is also bottom.
That's
All right, so I want to show you guys how this came out. You see, the cheese on the top charred around the edges and melted. And everything is just gooey and delicious. Natalia,
That came out perfectly.
you want to try it?
I won't have it right now.
Okay.
I don't have my cheese first, but
We're gonna try it later, but I'll break into it so you guys can see what it looks like.
yeah, this is truly, I mean, it's like an Italian gourmet impressive.
You guys know we can't see your faces, right?
Now we can. All right.
Sorry, we
I'm
were
trying to
trying to
let
watch
you
you
see
see
the
the food, but yeah, but thank you. Shall we get a fork to it?
This is here. This is fine. I just wanted to break into it so
Oh
you
my
guys can see it.
It's good to see your expressions when you're tasting it.
True.
Oh,
I'll taste it. It's not Natalia's dinner time yet, but this actually might be a little hot. It is so good. I wish you guys could sit here and eat it now. But this is just the best thing. If you don't make anything from this class, just make this. It takes 10 minutes and it's amazing. I'm gonna put that to the side.
yeah, you kind of forget that it's so quick to make because we were doing all these other things.
Yeah,
But it was literally
it's 3 ingredients.
yeah, it's
Cheese,
just a
squash, and marinara sauce. That's it.
little bit of goat cheese.
Yeah, and you don't even have 2 ingredients if you don't use the goat's cheese and you want it for a starch-based meal.
Mhm.
Like it's also without the cheese, it's good for lunch. In the winters, you're
Yeah, I mean, you could even do this you could do this period. You could
Yeah.
do this with a big side of greens as well.
that's what I'm saying. Like if you're having a salad with avocados or tahini dressing, you could do this with no cheese.
See, this for me would be my dressing. I would put this on top of the greens.
Yeah,
just like
a nice
make that-
protein meal. That's what I normally do for dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah, like my salads these days, I almost never even cut up other vegetables, just greens.
Yeah.
Which is what I was gonna show you for the avocado dressing. So for that, I'm gonna grab the blender and I will show you what's next.
Blender, the road is
Sorry, you guys, I know I had to chopped off. We sort of had to do one or the other.
We can pull it back.
I mean, careful what you wish for.
Can you see your face? now?
I can't see anything because it's too far away, but I think if I hit this button, I will be able to.
Yeah, if you just tilt it upward a little bit.
Wait, hit that. Hit that.
There you go.
Oh,
There you go. Now we.
all right, we're good.
Perfect. Beautiful.
Okay. So now, we all love dressing, but we're always trying to avoid oil, which I'm always trying to avoid oil. And but I hate salad without anything. To me, there's nothing more depressing than
Oh, no.
nothing on your greens. So
important, Mommy.
this dressing is just absolutely amazing and it has almost no ingredients. I think I'm missing a few here. I might have to get them, but it's an avocado base. So here we just have one avocado chopped. Yep, important. Very good.
What's the next one?
Salt and 1 teaspoon of salt. Put that in there. Perfect. A handful of cilantro.
Oh, so it's your.
Dump that in. And then here we have the juice of 1 lemon. And now we need a little bit more water in here. And then I like to put a little splash of cayenne pepper. Or you could do half of a jalapeno if you have one. Oh, I was just reading the screen. Somebody entered the chat. I'm gonna pop about 4 cup of water in here. And let me just dig into my spice cabinet because I forgot an ingredient, everybody.
I love cilantro.
Good. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of chili powder in here, to give it a bit of a hit.
I'm gonna eat, sorry.
And then I'm gonna pop this blender on, blend it, and I'll show you the consistency.
That's lemon, avocado, cilantro, salt, and chili powder.
Yep, so you can use any spice. You could use paprika, you could use cumin is good, or even just have a quarter of a jalapeno seeded.
Nice. Yeah, I love a fresh jalapeno.
Yeah. I ordered one and it didn't come, so. Cayenne pepper, well.
Jalapeno or whatever, just so I know.
Whatever you have, you have. Or, yeah. Plenty off pan.
Do you have vitamins?
Yeah, it's a newer one.
It's a beautiful blender.
I love that thing. And then here we go. See, it is green, fresh,
That
creamy.
looks so good and so not what all went in there. It's like, it's a new creation.
And if it's not blended enough, you can always blend it more. But I like to take this and just dump it over some lettuce with microgreens. In fact, I'll go get some for us.
And then the sweetness factors, there's no sweetness factor.
There's no sweet. You don't really need it with this. The avocado is quite sweet, but if you want to, you can add a little bit of liquid stevia.
Yeah. You gotta be my stevia.
Yes.
I'm incorrigible. I think I bring it into every single dish.
I mean, to be honest, I started doing it and then I started loving it too. Like when I'm cutting
Mhm.
everything out of my life.
Yeah.
See you. Try it with that.
You've done so efficiently. It's been incredible to watch you.
Thank you.
Truly.
So let's just give this a try. Natalia, would you try this? Or- Yeah.
Okay.
You can try it by cutting up the pepper. But this could be my dinner for three nights a week. I'm really quite happy. Yeah, fresh food. Okay, I'm gonna try it.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Sure.
Do you wash your produce for raw eating? Like I'd wash mine in white vinegar. Is that a good idea or not?
Yeah, that's a good idea. That, or you could also spray it with a little bit of food grade peroxide, because that's going to kill any bacteria on it. Another great way to wash your produce is with salt. You put a little salt water, throw your produce in salt water. What salt is going to do is bugs have a adhesive agent to see to their feet that helps them stick to produce, and the salt neutralizes their sucking ability. So all the bugs will fall off of your greens if you soak them in salt water.
I've never heard that before. Wow. That's incredible, by the way.
That's great.
It's so creamy. It actually almost tastes like there's cream cheese in it. Or like
There is
like
no
sour-
cream
stuff.
cheese.
Yeah, that sounds
No sour cream, no nothing. But it's good, yeah. Wow, I love this. It's just a more fun way to get your avocado in, you know.
I think it's a cilantro that makes it taste like cream cheese. It's really good, guys. You're gonna love this.
Yeah, this is a 2-second recipe. This one will only stay good for about 3 days because it'll start to turn colors. But it just when you first make it, it's like that vibrant green color. You just can't beat it.
But this is perfect also in the afternoon if you get a little bit peckish and you want to have some crudité with the dip. This
Yeah.
is a perfect dip. It's so light. It's feather light.
It's feather
It's like mousse. It's like mousse.
Yeah, like I'll just cut up a few peppers and some cucumber or have some greens and I'll put on. It also makes a really good sauce for tacos. If you want to do like a cooked veggie taco. So sometimes I'll saute some Brussels sprouts with like lemon and a little bit of unsalted organic butter and put them in a banana leaf and roll it up. And I'll put this sauce on top of that. And just like the creamy, crunchy, the creaminess of the sauce and the tang with the crunchiness of the Brussels sprout and the freshness of the lettuce leaf is just.
Wow, I can totally see that. Everything, it looks so delicious. How long is it gonna take for the taste packs to be ready?
These would be ready faster if they put them in the fridge.
Right, so that's what you could do, by the way, guys. Just
Yeah.
pop them in the fridge.
I just didn't, but we can still try
Yeah,
it.
yeah, but it's just interesting to see. It depends on the
Yeah.
temperature of your.
But this is what they look like. And if you're in a colder environment, we're in Florida right now, they're gonna get hard. But if you put these in the fridge for 10 minutes, they'll form up. But I'll give it a try so you guys can see it.
Pretty great.
All right. You
I'm
can,
gonna have to take some back for Electra.
yeah, you're gonna have to take them back. You can't beat these. They're incredible.
Wow. Everything is off the charts delicious. Like I cannot encourage you enough to make every single thing we've made because you want to have this in your life. It's going to make you happy. It's going to make the cleansing lifestyle the most desirable lifestyle you can imagine.
Yeah, it's like this
Yeah.
doesn't taste like a cleansing lifestyle. It
No.
tastes like a culinary lifestyle.
Yes. So there's so much nuance. There's so much detail. There's so much delicateness to it. Like it's robust. It's delicate. It's flavorful. It's creamy. The textures are all there. Everything you possibly want is here. Right here. Okay. You guys, any questions? Just go get your ingredients and cook it up. Cook up a storm. Let us know.
There is a PDF with all the recipes and ingredients that you need on it. And it may look like a lot, but you could also start small. start with the haystacks, the dressing, and the casserole. They're all 5 ingredients or less. The only thing that has a lot of ingredients is the soup. And even that, once you get started, it takes 30 minutes start to finish. It's really not bad.
And you have it for 4 days or for 8 days if you really want.
Yeah,
And you keep
freeze it, you
it.
can have it forever. And if you just keep adding water, you can really stretch it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And you can use it as dressing. All of these can be used. You get actually 3 dressings here. You have 3 ways to make your greens go further.
Oh,
So you
yeah.
can use them as what they're designed to be, and you can use them resourcefully for whatever you desire them to be.
The way I eat pretty much everything here is on top of 4 cups of greens.
There we go.
Yeah.
And here she is, this gorgeous cleansing queen.
Yeah.
Truly,
Sometimes.
truly, no, you always are. Okay, you guys, if there's no questions, I will bid you adieu. And thank you so much for participating, Maren.
Thank you for having me. This was great.
You're such a blessing to us all.
Oh,
Thank
you're
you so
very
much.
Sorry.
Ava, do you want to come and say goodbye?
Come along.
And yeah, and you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Say bye to everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So much love, you guys. Till next time.
Thank you.